What up, y'all? It's your boy Rodimus. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Hope everybody out there is staying safe and sound. But I'm back at you with another video. And on today's video, we will talk about All Elite Wrestling AEW. Now, the reason we'll talk about AEW, or the reason I'm bringing up AEW rather, is because they recently revealed the brackets for their annual Owen Hart Cup tournament, which will kick off at Double or Nothing. I'll talk more about that towards the tail end of the video. But they recently had their latest episode of Dynamite. And like I said, they revealed the brackets for both the men and women's tournaments. We have two tournament matches kicking off at Double or Nothing and one for the women. And I think tomorrow, speaking of which, they will have a 3-hour episode of Collision, I think. As if we need another episode, or as if we need another show that is 3 hours. It's bad enough SmackDown is 3 hours, but we know how awful that show is. But that's neither here nor there. But like I said on this video, we are going to talk about the Owen Hart Cup tournaments for both the men and the women. And I will give my predictions for Double or Nothing, which is a week from Sunday in Queens, New York. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Now, the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Tony Khan loves his tournaments. He loves tournaments like nobody's business. But this is one of, if not the best tournament that AEW does year after year. And just to run down some of the past winners of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, it started in 2022. Now, this is in partnership of the Owen Hart Foundation. We know how great Owen Hart was until his unfortunate death, but we don't need to get into that. We know the story behind that. But nonetheless, this is a great tournament. I'm definitely going to be tuned in. I hope you all will be tuned into the tournament, and we'll see how things go. But just to name some of the past winners of the tournament, in 2022, Dr. Britt Baker and Adam Cole won the first one, followed by Willow Nightingale and Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints in NXT in 2023, Mariah May and Bryan Danielson in 2024, and last year, Mercedes Moné and Adam Hangman Page. We know that the Hangman finished his story last year at All In. Mercedes having that great match with Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm. Who knows when we'll see her again, or Mercedes. Unfortunately, the CEO came up a little bit short. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and break down the brackets, and I will give my predictions and my analysis, or as this channel is called, the point of view. I will give my point of view as far as the tournament is concerned. Now, we'll start off with the men's tournament. The participants in this tournament this year, we will have the AEW National Champion Mark Davis, the former champion Jack Perry, Jungle Jack Perry, Swerve Strickland, the Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito, Claudio Castagnoli, and Brody King. And here are the matchups for the men's brackets. As I said earlier, we have two kicking off at Double or Nothing a week from Sunday. We will have Samoa Joe taking on Will Ospreay. Now, I don't know about y'all, but it's pretty much consensus that Will Ospreay is the hands down favorite to win this tournament. And I think this is going to be a great match. I mean, Samoa Joe can do no wrong. Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe. What more do we need to say about Samoa Joe? And the same way goes for Will Ospreay as he's embarking, if you will, on this comeback with the death, stuff like that. So my pick for this match, I'm going to go Will Ospreay. I'm going to go Will Ospreay. He's going to have a tough, grueling match against Samoa Joe. Again, Samoa Joe can do no wrong. Samoa Joe is one of the greatest wrestlers of this generation, and Ospreay as well. But I'm going to go with Will Ospreay on that one. Next, we will have a rematch of sorts as the AEW National Champion and representing the Don Callis family, Mark Davis, will take on former champion Jungle Jack Perry. This should also be a great one. Jack is looking to avenge his loss, if you will, because it was last week where Mark Davis, thanks to the help of Ricochet, won the championship from Jack Perry. I'll talk more about Ricochet in a minute. But nonetheless, I'm actually going to go with Mark Davis. A part of me wanted to pick Jungle Jack, but I'm going to go Mark Davis. So I think Mark Davis will advance to take on Will Ospreay. Next, we will have another match kicking off at Double or Nothing as Swerve Strickland, who has been targeting the Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. These two will have a match, and this is going to be one of the best matches. I think both quarterfinal matches will be two of the best matches on the Double or Nothing card. However, Swerve Strickland, he has his eyes set on the prize, if you will, of the AEW World Championship. He's looking to get back to the top by hook or by crook. Therefore, I think he's going to find a way to get the job done by hook or by crook. And he advances to the next round. He advances to the semifinals. He's my pick to defeat Bandito. Next, we will have Claudio Castagnoli representing the Death Riders, taking on Brody King. Now, this should be one hell of a fight. These two have faced off before numerous times. It's not going to be any different here. However, I'm going to go with Brody King. I think Brody King can find a way to defeat Claudio. Not saying that Claudio doesn't have a chance. This is his first time being in the tournament, per se. But I'm going to say Brody King advances to the next round to face Swerve Strickland. Next in the semifinals, we have Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis. I'm going to go Will Ospreay. I mean, like I said, Will Ospreay, this is his tournament to lose. Okay? He has to win the tournament. He came as the runner-up last year against Hangman Adam Page. Like I said, everybody and their grandma, including me, and I could be wrong, are picking Will Ospreay. And this should be a very tough match for Will. This should be a good match for both competitors overall, though. But again, I'm leaning towards Will Ospreay going to the finals. And in the last match of the semifinals, Swerve Strickland taking on Brody King. Swerve Strickland is determined. Like I said, he is determined to get back the AEW World Championship by any means necessary. Or as I say, by all means necessary. These two, they faced off before I believe at the last pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. Nonetheless, Swerve Strickland gets the W. I think he moves on to the finals. We move on to the finals, if you will. Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. Now, if you recall, Swerve Strickland was the AEW World Champion at the time. He faced Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay came up short, but there's no title on the line. Well, it is, but the AEW World Championship is not on the line, is what I'm saying. That all being said, this should be one hell of a match. Now, let me add this. The finals of each bracket will take place at Forbidden Door on June 28th, okay? So, with all Ospreay, I mean, like I said, this is Will Ospreay's tournament. This is his tournament to lose. He has to win this tournament. He's on this comeback, and I like what I see. It's kind of weird with him training with the Death Riders, per se. But nonetheless, I think, or should I say I know, like everybody else, Will Ospreay should win. Will Ospreay should not be losing in this tournament. He should be the winner of this tournament here. Now, let's talk about the women's bracket. Now, the women's bracket, it's more unpredictable, if you will, in my opinion, than it is the men's. Because, again, it's obvious that Will Ospreay should win. But nonetheless, in the women's bracket, you have Persephone, Hazuki, Willow Nightingale, who won the tournament in 2023, Alex Windsor, Mina Shirakawa, the Ring of Honor Forever Champion Athena. I am surprised. I don't know how y'all feel, but I am surprised that Tony Khan does not forget Athena, okay? She's held the Ring of Honor women's title for like 1 trillion days now. And I am very surprised that he has her in the tournament. She was in the tournament last year. She should be doing way more than what she is doing in Ring of Honor. She's done all she can do in Ring of Honor. She should be on AEW television, and I know most of y'all would agree with me, right? But nonetheless, we have Sari and Sky Blue. So let's just go ahead and get into the tournament. Persephone. Now, Tony Khan did mention on the Ring of Honor media call, I think they have a pay-per-view tonight. I don't really keep up with Ring of Honor, but I think they have a pay-per-view tonight. Nonetheless, she and Sari are injured, but still in the tournament. And he did talk about Persephone per se. Anyway, she take on Hazuki, and I think Persephone will win. This should be a good match, a nice warm-up match for the tournament, if you will. I don't really know much about Hazuki, but I think she'll go in there and she'll give it all she got. But nonetheless, I'm going to say Persephone advances. Next, we have Willow Nightingale, the TNT champion. I'm sorry, the TBS champion. I'm getting the titles confused. The TBS champion taking on Alex Windsor, one half of the Brawling Birds. Now, this should be a tough one. Willow Nightingale has gone in there and fought off all comers. So has Alex. And this match should be no different here. All that being said, Willow, as much as I love Willow, I am one of the biggest Willow Nightingale fans that y'all will ever see. I post it on social media and all that type of stuff. But I am such a big takeaway from Alex Windsor. She's great in her own right. Nonetheless, Willow should not be winning this tournament. But I think she'll advance, though. I think she'll advance. But yeah, she's my pick to win in a tough, grueling match against Alex Windsor. Next, we have Mina Shirakawa taking on the forever Ring of Honor champion, Athena. I love Mina, and she is great in her own right as well. She's done all that she could do. But she is not going to win. She barely wins on AEW television as it is, okay? And Athena, like I said, she's done all she can do in Ring of Honor. She should so be on AEW television doing more. But that's just my personal opinion, right? Anyway, Athena is my pick to advance. There's no reason why Mina, unless Tony Khan decides to just throw us a big surprise here, Athena should win this match. You know, I'm not going to take away from Mina or nothing like that, but it's Athena, right? Both women are two of the best women's wrestlers in the world. But I'm going with Athena here to advance. And then we'll have Sky Blue taking on Sari. Now, if I'm not mistaken, a while back, she had a match with Mercedes Moné. And Sky Blue, she's very good. She's very good. 1/3 of the Triangle of Madness. She's very good in her own right. However, a part of me wants to pick Sky because I think she's on a bit of a winning streak here. Sari, she's injured, if you will, but she's a great wrestler too. However, I'm going to go with Sari. I think Sari will advance and face Athena in the semifinals. So we'll have Persephone, Willow, Athena, and Sari. Persephone and Willow Nightingale. Boy, that's a tough matchup. Like I said, I love me some Willow. And I've seen very little of Persephone for as young as she is. She's great. She is the CMLL Women's Champion. But, she's going to have to carry her own weight with the injury that she has. And so is Sari. However, as far as Persephone and Willow are concerned, I'm going to go Persephone. I'm going to say an upset here and say Persephone moves on to the finals. Not that I would be mad about that. Don't get me wrong. I would not be mad about that at all. However, I feel like this should be something different here. So therefore, I'm going to say Persephone moves on to the finals. And then we have Athena versus Sari. Now, when you look at this match, in my opinion, most people would say Athena is the heavy favorite, and she is. But Sari could also pull the upset here. This is going to be a tight-knit match for both competitors. This is going to be very tight-knit. Who knows? We may see a surprise in this tournament. I don't know. But I will definitely be tuned in, to say the least. But I'm going to go Athena. I'm going to say Athena meets Persephone in the finals in a hard, grueling match. I'm going to go with Persephone to win the Women's 2026 Owen Hart Cup tournament. Yes, I'm going to say Persephone finds a way to defeat Athena. And you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if she lost. You can make the argument that Persephone deserves the win, and you can make an argument that Athena deserves the win. You can make a case for any woman in this tournament because, like I said earlier, This tournament is it's more unpredictable than the men's. So anything can happen. Even in the men's, anything can happen. Both tournaments, anything can happen, right? But my pick, just my personal opinion, my personal point of view, I'm going to say Persephone wins and she challenges the women's champion at All In Wembley. And speaking of which, that goes into Double or Nothing. Let's talk about Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing is a week from Sunday, May 24th, Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, New York. And like I said earlier, it's the second, from what I saw, it's the second highest sellout it's the second highest gate or whatever in AEW history. So a lot of people are going to be at that show, and it's definitely going to be a very long show. You know, Tony Khan likes to make these pay-per-views like 24 hours long or whatever. I know I'm exaggerating, but they are very long pay-per-views. So I'm going to run down the card as it stands. There are 8 matches on the card, and I'm going to give my predictions on this card and what I think will happen. So we're going to start off with the Owen Hart men's quarterfinal. As I mentioned, Will Ospreay, in my opinion, will defeat Samoa Joe. Then we have the women's quarterfinal tournaments. I picked Willow Nightingale. The AEW International Championship. Kazuchika Okada taking on Konosuke Takeshita. These two hate each other. These two are a part of the Don Callis family, or as I like to call it, the DWO. The CWO. I'm sorry. I call it the CWO. The Callis World Order. Because he's got everybody known to man in his family. From Okada, Takeshita, Andrade, Mark Davis, Brian Cage just came back. You name it. They're in the Don Callis family, or the CWO as I like to call it. As much as I love both men, as much as I'm a huge fan of both men, I think Okada will find a way to defeat Takeshita. And I think Takeshita will finally defeat Okada at All In Wembley. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, would I be shocked? Would I be shocked per se if Takeshita finally beats Okada at Double or Nothing? No, but I see him finally getting his revenge and finally getting that win at All In Wembley. So my pick for this match, I'm going to go Okada to retain. Next, we have an I Quit match. A tag team I Quit match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. FTR versus Copeland Cage, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage. Now, I was telling my brother MJ yesterday, I like FTR and everything, but I'm just at the point where now, when they're on my TV screen, I put it on mute because they cut the same promos every single week. And it's pretty much the same routine, the same boring routine. The only thing good about them is Stokely. Now, let me say this also. They're still a very great tag team, okay? They are the AEW Tag Team Champions. They're not just the Tag Team Champions for nothing. They are the Tag Team Champions for a reason. Cope and Cage, I mean, what more can I say about their legendary careers here? Now, if they lose, they got to retire as a tag team. This match was originally going to be a New York City street fight. Now it's turned into an I Quit match where the losing team, where if Cope and Cage lose, they got to retire as a tag team. And like I said, they got two of the most legendary careers in the game, right? Both world champions, multi-time tag team champions, etc., etc. You know, a part of me wants to say FTR retains, but I think Cage and Copeland finally get it done. They get their revenge on FTR, and they become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. And it's going to be a sight to see Adam Copeland and Christian Cage as the World Tag Team Champions. And let's see how things play out. If that happens, let's see how things play out leading up to All In Wembley, because I can see a possible 3-way, hint. But anyway, my pick is Cope and Cage become the new tag team champions. We have another men's Owen Hart Cup tournament quarterfinal match. Of course, I picked Swerve Strickland in that. Then we have the 4-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship as Tekla, who I've become such a fan of, takes on Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter, and Chris Statlander. I'm a fan of all three of these women also. Now, it's a lot been going on as far as Jamie Hayter trying to get back into the scene, wanting the title. She's been defeated by Tekla before. This stuff with Statlander and Hikaru Shida, it's been kind of weird per se. But nonetheless, all three women are going to face Tekla for the championship. And like I said, I'm a big fan of all four women. However, I don't think the title needs to come off Tekla yet. I think she needs to continue being champion. And I think she's going to find a way, by hook or by crook, to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. Now this match could go either way. This match could, who knows? This match could go either way. Hikaru Shida's been champion. I think she holds the record for most title reigns or whatever. Jamie Hayter's been champion. Chris Statlander's been champion. But Tekla's on the roll right now. I don't know about y'all, but Tekla's on the roll right now. So therefore, I'm going to say Tekla retains the championship and moves on to Forbidden Door, leading up to All In Wembley as champion. Then we'll have Stadium Stampede. Now, I got to take a sip of my water here. Y'all can't see it, because this is a mouthful. I mean, literally, this is a mouthful. We have the annual Stadium Stampede match. Let me tell you who's in this match. The Hurt Syndicate, Jericho, and the Elite. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Jericho, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Jungle Jack Perry. They will be taking on the team of The Demand, Ricochet and his crew, the Don Callis family, represented by Andrade El Idolo and Mark Davis, and the Dogs, represented by Clark Connors and David Finlay. And like me and my brother MJ was talking, this match is so confusing and so mind-blowingly... I'm going to say this match is dumb. Why are most of these people in this match? What's the correlation here? What are we doing? Okay, Stadium Stampede, yeah, it can be a little dumb and a little tedious and whatnot, but nonetheless, what is the correlation behind this year's match? Okay, as I just mentioned, you have on the babyface team, the Hurt Syndicate, Jericho, and the Elite. Yes, Jungle Jack Perry is a member of the Elite, I guess. I don't know. Then on the heel side, you have the Dogs, the DCF, and the Demand. Like, what are we really doing? Okay, Jack Perry and Ricochet, they've been going at it for a few months. Jack lost the national title to Mark Davis, so that kind of ties into things. Jericho's been beefing with Ricochet and the Hurt and all this type of stuff. It's so mind-blowingly confusing. But if you would ask me who I'm picking, I'm going the babyface team. I'm going to go with the Hurt Syndicate, Jericho, and Elite. I mean, my God, like, what are we doing here? And in the main event, we have title versus hair. Now, Darby Allin will defend the AEW World Championship against former champion MJF. MJF is obsessed with getting his championship back. We know what happened a few weeks ago when Darby Allin beat him in a minute and a half, 2 minutes or whatever. We know what happened. And Darby Allin's been going on this roll in the last few weeks, defending the title against all comers. He recently just had a match against Konosuke Takeshita, which was fantastic, right? And then afterwards, they had the contract signing. MJF stood tall after he knocked him out with the diamond ring or whatever. But this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. However, I feel like it's obvious. I feel like most people, it's obvious. MJF should be 3-time AEW World Champion. Okay. Y'all already know who I picked for the men's tournament. The writing is on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. The gas is going to run out on Darby. And I love Darby. I'm a fan of Darby and I'm a fan of MJF. But I think the gas is going to run out on Darby Allin. MJF will keep his hair, or what is his hair, and he will once again be AEW World Champion. So those are my predictions for I almost said Dynamite. Double or Nothing a week from Sunday. Like I said, the writing is on the wall. The main event for All In Wembley is on the wall. The writing for the main event is on the wall. It's right there. You cannot mess this up, okay? You cannot mess this up. You got a perfect story lined up, and it needs to be executed by all means. So what do y'all think? Who do you think will win the men's and women's Owen Hart Cup tournament? What do you think will happen at Double or Nothing? What are your predictions for Double or Nothing? Y'all let me know in the comments. As always, like, share, subscribe, comment. Give me your feedback on what you see. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. You may disagree with what I say, and that's okay with that. Like I always say, I could always be wrong. But nonetheless, this has been my point of view. My name is Rodimus, and I will see you guys next time.